Live. There we go. Sorry for the technical difficulties there, everybody. A little delay in getting this, getting the live going here, live feed going.
It's always something. It's always something. Everyone
Absolutely.
out there, thank you for everything you have done, everything you're doing.
Yes, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank the ones that are currently serving, that has served in the past, and that's also died for our service as well. And we can't thank you enough for what you have done and allowing us to go to sleep at night, and sleep well.
With everything that's going on in the world, right now, locally and then across the world, across the planet, that's a huge sacrifice. We live in the greatest country there is. I firmly believe that. I know there's a lot of divisiveness, but we are still get to enjoy the freedoms that the United States has to offer, and that's because of all those that, as Z said, have served and are currently serving, have given their lives for this country. So, greatly appreciated to all those. Either whether or not it's yourself or it's a family member. I myself am not a veteran. I have not served. My grandfather did serve in World War II. And aside from that, I think that's the only family member that I have that has served in the military. So,
yeah.
Z, what about you?
No, I have not served. And I think earlier today when we put a post out about that we're going live 2:30, we had a lot of, thank you for your service. I have not served, but just want to thank, that's why we're doing this, to honor our veterans and to thank everyone that has served. But I do want to give a special shout out to my father, who was a veteran, and also to one of my closest friends, one of my brothers, Lawrence Ewing. Some of you may know Shay, or we know Miss Mac.
What's up, Mac?
What's going on, Mac? Give me my trade. But I want to thank you for your service as well.
Absolutely.
So definitely. So it's been a great day. You done anything today? I know
I did, man. Actually, I got up relatively early today. Slept in a little bit to about 7, but went out, I got 4.5 miles in this morning. Felt great, beautiful out there. Yeah, it felt really good. And then after that, I went and hit the sauna for about 35 minutes. So I was done. That part of my day is done, and then Hayes in the barn for that one. So
okay. Well, I did take a different approach. I had to run a few errands this morning. I know you better call me out. I had to run a few errands this morning. When he was talking this morning, what time we was going live, I was getting my little pedicure. That's what I was doing. I get one about once a quarter. So hey, hopefully my wife won't see this shit. Just don't worry about that. Every now and then I get a little upkeep, man, little upkeep. So
I've never done it. I'm not opposed to it at all. So I'm not going to hate on you on that. Especially as runners, man. That's a lot of wear and tear on your feet, right? I know a lot of people that do. I mean, in some races, people lose toenails.
Yeah.
So keep them clean, keep them neat.
Get blisters, especially when we run a mini. I'm always, get some blisters or something, man. So nothing wrong with a little upkeep,
Pamper yourself every now and then.
My wife, she goes every 2 weeks. I can go once a quarter, so it'd be all right.
Maybe I'll join you. Maybe we go live. We should do that.
Yeah, that's a great show. Yeah, great show. Go live.
Well, so I want to keep on the veteran topic, man.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. So, I've thought about this a lot. Knowing what I know now, just as far as where I am in my life and things like that, I've often thought about what it would have been like to serve. And I hope this isn't disrespectful in any way, and I'm not trying to do that. I was just trying to think and honestly, I really wish I had considered it and done it. Back then, though, at that time when I was 18 years old, you couldn't tell me nothing. I would not have been, that probably would not have worked out well for me. I don't think I was mature enough at the time. I don't think I was definitely too self-centered and selfish, I think, to to humble myself enough to serve, or to, to be in the military and go through everything that you have to go through.
Yeah.
But it's something I have had a conversation with my son about a little bit. He's not there yet as far as like age wise, only a sophomore, but it's something that I'm trying to just have a conversation with him about as an opportunity, career wise. I was just telling Z before we came on, there's an old neighbor of mine. He served 20 years, 20 plus actually. And, during that time, and recently retired, but during that time, he told me that he was able to get, I think it was at least 2 college degrees, and, 2 master's degrees,
That's right.
because of the service, the benefits of having served. So, he's taken full advantage of that.
Everything was paid for, right?
I think it's the GI Bill that covers that.
Yeah.
Even up until like 2 years ago, he was taking online classes and just always doing something, but he was taking full advantage of that because it was paid for. So, shout out to him for that, and for all those others that have been able to, take advantage of that as well. So,
yeah, like I said, at that time, 17, 18, I was kind of the same boat. Did I think about military? Yeah, I did. If I hadn't have gotten like a scholarship for track, that'd probably be something I would have considered. And my father did serve. You do get to travel with it, and you will get your schooling paid for, because I wanted to go to college and get a degree. So it possibly. But then I've also heard some stories from my father too. What he had to go through in the Vietnam War. And a lot of tough things. Some things that he seen he probably couldn't tell us about, but I could see it on his face that you see some things and experience some things that probably shouldn't see.
yeah.
So it's tough. So that's why I say I definitely salute those ladies and men to the fullest, going through what they go through. So if I didn't get a scholarship, but I was very confident in myself, I was like, I'm going to get a scholarship in track or some way or another, but it possibly would have. But, looking back on it, Mac, he just got 20 years in. So he's looking good. So I know he's looking good with his, retirement. I think he's going to keep going. But, it'd be good to have that in your back pocket right now, especially these days and times.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and so, from that, I know one of the other topics we want to talk about today is discipline. And that's one of the things I think of when I think of military, is the discipline that it would take, to go through that, mental and physical discipline. Z had put out there, that we wanted to talk about this today, especially as we kind of come into the holiday season. The weather's changing, time changed on us. It's dark earlier, light a little bit earlier, but, staying disciplined in our workouts, staying disciplined with our nutrition, so just kind of talking about that. What does a day look like for you? Like discipline wise, like what time do you get up in the mornings? And this doesn't have to be a workout, but what time do you get up in the mornings? What's your routine look like when it comes to that?
A good routine day for me, especially around this time of year, get up at 5. Me and my wife both get up at 5, and of course it's dark outside. Some days you don't want to get, but a good day is I get up at 5, and outside, if I'm going to run or I'm going to go down in the basement and do some strength training on the bench, dumbbells, push-ups, sit-ups, some different exercises to get my morning going from like 5 to 6. Then obviously, 6 to 7, I'm getting myself and my son ready for work. Go to work 9 to 5, pretty much. And during my lunch, I'm eating my meal prep that I have already prepared. I'm eating some healthy snacks throughout the day, so I don't, get off track. And then at night, I'm eating my other meal prep that me and my wife have prepared, which is usually fish and vegetables as well. And then making sure I'm eating that early, and then making sure that I'm not eating anything late. like even late last night on my Instagram page, I wanted a late night snack. I wanted some cookies. And I was like, no, I've already had some baggies prepared of, grapes and fruit. I got some fruit there. I got me an apple, and that's what I wanted and needed. But that's an ideal day, and most of the week, probably 5-6 days out of the week, I'm definitely doing it clean. And there's also the days where you slip up. But if you can be disciplined most of the way, that's usually how my days usually go.
Yeah, and that's I'm similar right now. There for a while, I was getting up at 5, and I would do something, like you talked about. I would do some stretching, and that's a big thing that I've incorporated lately as I'm getting older. To be able to move and not have the aches and pains of just normal life, much less being active as well. But I'll do some stretching, I'll do some strength stuff, and again, last episode I talked about I'm not a big lifter. So most of the things that I do is going to be body weight stuff, push-ups. I use bands now when it comes to like doing curls and lateral raises and things like that for my shoulder. Some body weight squats. But yeah, I try to get that in the morning. I've not been as disciplined in the past few weeks as I want to be, and that's just slipping. And I think my biggest problem when it comes to that is I battle this. I battle this, like I don't have a race coming up. I feel pretty good. I can go out and I can run, and not have any.
You got the turkey trot.
I'm not, that's coming up. So that's one of the things I'm kind of leading up to is like, the discipline of every day when nobody's watching, right? Like, what am I doing when nobody's watching, to put in that work? And so the idea is like, okay, well, nobody's watching. Again, I feel okay. I feel this kind of thing. And so I'm not staying as disciplined with my workouts as I want.
Yeah.
Ideally for me, I think right now is to run like 3 days a week. And the rest of the time, the stretching and then the strength stuff is going to be the key for me. But the idea of getting it done and getting it in the morning, I think is the most important, because I then run into the idea or the feeling of guilt of like trying to do those things after work, right? Work till 4 or 5 o'clock. And then, picking up a kid from basketball practice or taking them to here, or taking them to there, and then before you know it, it's 6, 7 when you get home, roughly dinner time. And then, you haven't seen your spouse yet, or you haven't seen your children yet, that kind of thing, right? If they're getting off the bus and there. So then I feel guilty about going to the gym or doing anything kind of. I feel like that's taken away the time that I have with them. So that's where I have some feelings of guilt. So I think that's where it's critical to have that discipline to get that workout in the morning, or at least have a schedule where you're doing that. Because, we also have to take care of ourselves. If we're not taking care of ourselves, then are we going to be able to take care of anyone else? Got to make sure that we're right first, both mentally and physically, to be able to be in a place or in a space where I can help others.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because if I can get it done in the morning, then I know it kind of ease my mind for the rest of the day. I got my workout done. I've accomplished, one of my discipline items already. Because in the afternoon, especially now, kids got basketball practice or gymnastics or cheerleading, and then you got I'm currently in school right now as well. I got homework, and then of course you got you got to cook.
This man's busy over here.
Cook, then you got to play. You got to play a husband and father too. So hey, if you at 5 to 6, if I can get something done, then that's the best time for me to get something done with my body. As far as being disciplined. So yeah, I definitely agree. If you can get up in the morning, I know it's hard to get up, especially when it's still dark out and it's cold. Don't want to get up. You're tired. Get up. Get your body moving. Because it's definitely gonna be key in these months moving forward.
So you set your alarm for 5 a.m.
5, yeah.
Goes off at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Snooze.
Oh yeah, so I definitely snoozed before. Yeah, definitely snoozed, but I'm getting better about that.
Okay.
Getting better about that because I would definitely want to get. If I can get an hour in, you definitely want to get 45 minutes. You know, if I have to, or if I gotta get a 30-minute run in, I can get a 5K in quick if I need to. And if it's dark out, I'll throw on my, you know, my little vest that lights up, whatnot, so so people know it's me.
I was in a running group, and so the slogan was, if you ain't glowing, you ain't going.
Yes, right.
So yeah, the reflective thing, especially like he's saying, you know, when as it gets dark earlier and it's, you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, people are still getting home from work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of traffic out there. So
Yeah.
Definitely a key component of your attire there if you're running outside, you know, in the evenings.
Yeah, morning or evening now.
Yeah, morning.
It's dark either way.
So speaking, okay, let's go back to that. So let me stay in that kind of cold weather stuff, like talking about getting out and running when it's cold. So like I ran today, I ran in shorts. You know, it was like 50, I think, when I went outside.
That's good weather.
So I ran, yeah.
To you and I, it's good weather.
Right. Well, and that was but it took me a while to learn and to get to that point because I don't like being cold, number one. So like the idea of, you know, you step outside and that cold air hits you and you're like, woo, you know, so like I'm dressing at that time, I was dressing to be warm as soon as I stepped outside.
Okay.
But then as we get going, our body heats up, right?
Yeah,
and so then I'm like, man, I got all these clothes on. I'm starting sweating, which you don't want to do because then you get cold everywhere, right? Or, you know, you start sweating, your clothes get wet, and then you get colder, it seems like. So it did take me a while to find the right attire for temperatures. And that's kind of how I base it on now. So I ran in shorts this morning.
Yeah. Okay. And
I had on t-shirt, and then I had on a quarter zip. It was a dry fit, kind of not like super thick cold gear, but enough to keep me warm. And then that was it. Now it did have the things that comes over my hands. It wasn't cold enough. I didn't need gloves or anything like that. I wasn't wearing a toboggan or a beanie. You call it a toboggan or a beanie?
Toboggan.
Hey, listeners, what do you all think? Toboggan or beanie? What do you call it?
Toboggan. Yeah,
that's what I called when I was younger. It was like toboggan. Mom would be like, "Don't forget your toboggan."
Yeah. Toboggan.
That's a sled, right?
Nah, I got toboggan. I'll say toboggan. You say beanie?
I say beanie.
Yeah, toboggan.
All right.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I ran out in that. I felt it was comfortable. I felt comfortable in that. But you know,
and that's probably what I would wear too. That's what I would wear too. But somebody else, they probably gonna have a long sleeve shirt on and long sleeve pants, you know, whatnot. So they probably be from head to toe. But yeah, shorts and a little zip up. That's probably what I would wear too.
And actually, by the time, you know, I was kind of, I think it was around mile 3 or something like that, I got hot.
Yeah.
And so I took off the quarter zip, you know, and I was just running in short sleeves. And at that point, it was good. But it was nice. It was sunny outside. So that sun makes you feel a little bit warmer when that hits you.
And that's some of the best times when the sun's coming up, you get in running, man, it kind of really does something to your mind too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Beanie.
Toboggan, see, it's going to be back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back and forth.
You know, I've definitely run in some cold weather. Like I'm trying to think like temperature wise, you know, do I go to like tights? I mean, you run in tights, right? I think I remember you run like tights and shorts over.
I have, but I probably need to get out of it because I think when I did the last mini, I ended up getting too hot, and that's probably why I was almost dehydrated. I had so much salt coming out of me.
Yeah,
I got over dehydrated, and that's why it was really a tough race. But and Mac noted who's in the chat right now. We ran in track and Gil too. You pretty much running in Speedo. You got shorts and a tank top on, and they don't call. We running anything, even if it's snowing, rain. Only when it's lightning, they all cancel the race. So we kind of got used to just running in it, and it would really suck at times. But
those are some short shorts too.
Yes, short shorts. Yes, they were shorts and a tank top. That's what you're running in, and it didn't matter. I ran in snow, or ran in the rain, or blistering hot. But if it wasn't lightning, we were running in it. So that kind of built me up too. And same thing happened with track and college. You just kind of build up a tough skin for it.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we have. But if you're not much of a runner or a new runner, then you're probably going to bundle up. But as you'll see, as Eric was saying, you'll get too hot, you know, if you're going on a long run.
Yeah, and then just trial and error. The main thing is like whatever you're comfortable in, right? Right now, just it's a learning. It's always a learning experience. I'm always learning something new about it every day, about like just me personally when it comes to it as well. So yeah.
So I mean, that's the exercise piece of it. As you go into these months here, you want to make sure you're doing something. You want to be doing something because we want to get into the diet piece, which is big around this time of year around food. But November, December, January, February, exercise and diet is very, very key. Because a lot of times people tend to sit around at this time. And when it gets during the summer months, the spring months, you want that beach body. It's going to be a lot harder to get that weight off. It's going to be a lot harder to fit into that bikini that you want to get into because you're going to end up buying more clothes and stuff. So that's the point I want to get to the diet, and being disciplined because we got a big holiday coming up, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. And Gil just hit something. I can't see what it says there. How do you find the best diet for you? Well, I think, everybody's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's different. Everybody's body metabolizes things differently. I think the general or the best way to look at it is if you're burning more calories than you're taking in, you want to be in a calorie deficit, I think is going to be the best thing for you. So it really depends on how much activity you're doing. What is it that they base everything on a 2,000 calorie diet? I don't think that's fair because again, everybody's different, right? Is it the same thing for me? I'm 5'7", like 165, for, someone that's 6'4", 250. So again, I think you have to take that into account first. And then, what is your goal? I would say it's probably going to be,
what's the goal?
That's probably going to be are you looking to lean down, like, looking good in for the summer at the pool, at the beach, or are you looking to build muscle, so I think that's the biggest thing that you got to take into what is your goal, and kind of what body type do you have?
Yeah.
And try to stay in that, calorie deficit there.
That's my main goal. I would say, most people are obviously trying to lose a lot of weight. Obviously I hear a lot in diets from doctors, whatnot, that, most of your diet needs to be obviously, fruit and veggies, 7% of it needs to be fruit and veggies and, water, constantly, it's a gallon of water a day. That's what the start, the basics should be. I mean, if you're going to have any kind of diet, if you're trying to lose weight or tone up, then got to be mostly fruit and veggies. And, what's helped me a lot is the meal prep and having little baggies of different snacks available. Like I was talking about last night, will help because before then my fruit and veggie intake was not what it was. It was not what it was at all, not even close. I was going, before meal prep, I was going out and getting something to eat at a fast food place or something, or trying to pick up a Subway sandwich or something like that.
Because it's healthier, right?
Because it's healthier, and that ain't gonna get it done. It's gonna start with you making the discipline steps to put things in place so that way you will be able to make sure you're getting enough of your fruit and veggie intake, vitamins, and enough water as well. So I mean, I would start there for any diet, especially if you're trying to lose weight or tone up. Start there, so start there. Start cleaning out your pantry, and your fridge, and start stocking those up with more healthier options. So that way, when you go to grab something, you got that craving, it's going to be something healthy. But fruit and veggie from the base and water.
Yeah, and I said because it's healthier. I mean, and honestly, Subway is going to probably be a healthier option than maybe some other fast food places out there, right? Yeah. A lot of those other fast food places where you have like deep fry. I love French fries. I think McDonald's has the best ones, like fast food wise. But
I don't know about that.
Okay, what do you got?
Rallies.
Rallies does have good fries. You're right. Right. But yeah, I mean, so I don't want. I'm going to take that back, right? So it is a healthier. No, not the McDonald's. I'm not going back on that. I'm just going back on. Yeah. Subway is a healthier option. The biggest thing for I still have an idea I want to come back to, but limiting sugar intake, I think, is the biggest thing that I try to do, even now. Stay away from sodas. Really don't even drink diet sodas.
Yeah.
Sweets, they're okay. We talked about that before. Like, I'd like to eat some ice cream every now and then. But I think a lot of it, well, the key to almost anything is going to be moderation as well. When you're talking about those types of things.
I'm about to get to.
But yeah, fruits and vegetables. I like to eat a lot of protein.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do that, you're eating protein or fruit and veggies, stay off sodas and eliminate fast food. That's a hell of a good start right there.
Yeah,
that's a very good start right there to get what you need to do, or at least start somewhere.
Another one, and so one of the things that I've heard, and I'm going to ask if you've heard this as well. Have you ever heard the idea that, like, just because you're hungry, it doesn't necessarily mean that you want food? Like,
no people relate that to like stress eating as well. So,
yeah, and yes,
or you're bored.
Absolutely bored. But like, I've heard that you need to drink. Like, if you're hungry, try drinking something first. Drink that water first. Let that get in your belly. Let that fill up and kind of take up that space. And hopefully that'll help with that hunger feeling that you have inside of you.
That's a good point.
Going back to what we're going about, moderation.
Moderation. So what I want to get into is, obviously we got a big holiday coming up, Thanksgiving, and I know people don't want to hear this, but when it comes to Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners or New Year's Eve dinner, everything's laid out in front of you, right? We all gonna eat. Everybody's going to eat, but start with, I don't know if you've seen this enough, but start with a regular size plate. You know what I'm saying? Start with a regular size plate. And I got some family members that do this. You ever seen those big surfboard plates on the internet? You see them surfboard plates out there. I'm telling you, the plate is big. You got to hold with two hands. It's ridiculous. And what you're going to do when you get the plate, you're going to make sure you're covering it up.
Yeah.
You got the turkey, the ham, the yams, the potato salad, deviled eggs, greens, all the rolls, whatnot, and you're going to fill that up. And I have some families that would do that. And then I can see them pouring gravy all on the plate. This big surfboard plate, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. Start with a regular size plate. You don't have to go overboard with it. That's where we get in trouble at. And that's where those extra pounds come in at, especially around this time of year. You're not sitting around doing anything, and then Thanksgiving comes, you just load up, and you go crazy. It's crazy work, I'm telling you. And and that's where you got to be really disciplined at, is not to go overboard with it. It's just moderation. Start with a regular size plate, fill that up first. Because what's going to happen is you're going to eat all that food, and then what happens when you eat all that?
You fall asleep. You hit the couch, you unbutton the pants.
Yeah, if you're watching the game, you're going to fall asleep. And that's a lot of food to fall asleep on. I'm not going to put 8 pounds on you right there.
And I totally know what you're talking about with the oversized plates and the family. Like, it's every year. It's every year for sure. I'm not a huge thing. I don't like turkey really a whole lot anyway. So Thanksgiving for me is more about the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the moderation piece of it. Get a little bit of everything. Try it all. You can always go back for more if you want to. Try not to, but
start there. That's the thing. Because what's going to happen is that you're going to just overdo it, and then Christmas time comes. You're going to have a Christmas dinner. You're going to overdo it, and you're already probably putting a little extra on right now, especially if you're not up and moving around this time. These 4 months here, and you do all that. You can come out of the wintertime with extra 15, 20 on you. And then what happens? Real quick. You're trying to get ready for summer body, but what you got to do? You got to buy extra clothes. Right now, your current clothes don't fit, so that's an extra expense right there as well. So there's a lot of benefits to it if you are being disciplined and you are taking your diet serious. That you won't have to work so hard when it gets New Year's time, even though some people will start with
the New Year's
resolution and whatnot. If you can start in January, great. That'll get you even more prepared. But you're gonna have to do extra work if you overdo it around this time of the year. And so if you don't want to put so much extra stress on you, then be disciplined. And if you can work out and be disciplined during this time, you'll be able to get in that summer body like you want. You'll be able to get in that bikini like you want. post those pictures on the gram and on X like you want, TikTok like you want. Otherwise, you might not be. So just think about that. Just seriously think about that. I'm just saying, if you want to get in 2-piece or the 1-piece, think about it.
Yeah, so, make it easier on yourself.
Make it easier on yourself. I'm just saying, you hear it all the time. Dang, what happened to me? Come out the winter time, what happened to you? 20, got 20 on me already. What am I gonna do? And as you get older, it's hard to lose weight. I remember back in college, I could lose weight, 5 pounds in a day. I can't do that no more. Maybe if I work, a good workout, whatnot, I'm disciplined, I can lose a couple pounds in a day or so, but it's harder as you get older. So just be thinking about these things as you go on extras back and forth from Thanksgiving or around this time of year. Just be thinking about that. It adds up quick.
And I can even see that just during the week. Like if I have a couple days in a row where I eat pizza one day and then the next day, I'm eating, cheeseburgers and everything else, and I'm not doing anything. I can see it on the scale, 3-4 pounds in like a week to 2 weeks. It's crazy how quickly that happens. And that's just, I don't know if that's just me. I mean, again, everybody's body is a little bit differently when they metabolize everything. But, another thing that, when it comes to diet, holiday season, stuff like that, is alcohol. Again, I've cut that out of my life, for 18 months now, and that's a huge benefit.
I'm right behind you.
That's we talked about sodas and alcohol. Those are those empty calories that you're just drinking them, right? You're not really getting any benefit out of them other than, the way that makes you feel and that thing, and, the way you interact with others and stuff. But it just, that was the easy thing for me to, the sodas were to cut out, and then the alcohol as well recently. So,
yeah, I definitely agree with that, because anytime with the sodas or alcohol, they all go right here.
Yep.
And if anybody knows my father or my grandfather, we all look very similar. And I would see them. I was like, my dad would say all the time, "This is what you're gonna be like." And I said, "No, I'm gonna try to change that, because all our weight would go right here." And so, once I cut out alcohol or any sodas or whatnot, I probably lost some 7 to 8, and it's just kind of stayed off. Because that's all I just water weight, beer weight, and sodas on you. So it's good to shed that, and I'll have a lot more energy from that as well. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If you're just tuning in, I saw a few people just tuning in. Just remember, we forgot to say this in the beginning. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to subscribe to, Z and E's channel, BaldBoyz. Yes, we are BaldBoyz right here.
I gotta get cleaned up though. I'm not very.
I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I'll let you work on that. So don't worry, I keep us fresh, man. I got us fresh.
Appreciate
that. But yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us on IG at BaldBoyz502.
Yep.
At X BaldBoyz502. Of course, we have our Facebook pages as well, and we also have TikTok as well. But TikTok is coming. But yeah, continue to follow us here. But we're gonna be transitioning here to a couple of sports topics we want to get into. Would be some fun topics. Then we do some more Q&A as well before we wrap up. Speaking of sports, what happened to Louisville?
Man, so going into the game, I remember looking at the line, and Vegas had U of L favored by 2.5. And I went to the game against Morehead State. They won by 50. They looked good. The energy in the Yum Center was amazing. There's about 13,000 there. It was a great crowd. Felt good, but I saw that number and I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know who we are as a team. I say we, I'm a U of L fan. Who we are as a team. I know that Kelsey has the reputation of wanting to shoot a lot of threes and play fast. But playing against Tennessee, Elite 8 team last year, did lose Dalton Connect, but they had Ziegler back. They had a couple other guys returning as well. They're a defensive-minded team, and so I just didn't know hopefully, I was hopeful going in that U of L would play well, have a chance to win. Came out. I thought they looked shell shocked. I thought they looked a little over. Like the moment was a little too big early on.
Yeah.
And then Tennessee jumped out to that big lead, and they were just playing from behind the whole way. Tennessee was I think they shot 55% for the game from the field, 58% from 3-point range, whereas U of L shot 25 from 2 and 26 from 3. You're not going to win very many games that way, and got killed on the boards. But one of the other things that I noticed just watching the game is that I felt that U of L could not get by any of the Tennessee defenders. And so I just felt like they looked slower. I don't know if the moment they were playing tight. I don't know what was going on with that part of it. It was not. I mean, obviously the competition was a lot different, but I don't anticipate that being the same team going forward. You know, I think they're going to have better showings. I still think that there's not a game that they're going to go into where I feel that we just don't have a chance to at least be in the game. Whereas past 2 years, I had no hope that we were going to win a game against anybody that was a good team at all. So, so that's my summary of the game from the weekend. Did you watch it?
I watched some of it. I was at the barbershop getting my son's haircut, but what I saw was Louisville was putting a lot of threes. Yeah, and it wasn't hitting too many threes. And Tennessee's lead just kept going ahead and ahead. So I know we're in the age where it's very three heavy and teams gonna shoot a lot of threes, but they just kept on shooting them. Yeah, they kept on shooting them. Yeah. And I think that's just what it was. And Rick Barnes, obviously he's a hell of a coach as well. He had him ready to play, but I mean, if Luka hit some threes, I mean, I could be right there, obviously.
Yeah, and again, like as I mentioned, they shot almost 60% from three. Mm-hmm. They were hot early. Ziegler got hot in the second half. I think U of L had it down to like maybe 8 at one point in the second half. Ziegler hits a logo 3, and then they just could never, like every time they made a run, like Tennessee had something for them, and then they just couldn't get over that hump. They couldn't sustain it. Again, I think it was just dug too big of a hole early on, and took too much effort to try and get out of that hole where they just kind of ran out of gas there at the end. And we'll see. I think they're definitely going to be better than they were.
I think so. Yeah. I seen that. I think they're better than they were last year.
I think they got a hell of a schedule. They've got a really tough non-conference schedule, and the ACC is going to be tough too. They got UNC and Duke, both of them actually at the Yum Center this year. But
when you go to that game?
Yeah, it's December 8th.
I need to go see Cooper Flag. Everybody knows me. Duke is my teams. I mean, he always making fun of me, all my teams I got, but I always like my teams. Duke is one of my teams. Cooper Flag, #1 pick. I can't wait to see him. I do need to get some tickets to go see him.
Did you watch? I watched them play.
I watched them play, and then they look better than number 17. They ranked 7th right now, but I feel like this team could do some damage in the tournament.
I'm excited to watch him, Flag as well. I followed him a lot, not in person, but a lot of like highlight stuff, things like that from high school. Mm-hmm. The dude had a reputation for a while. He was on the scene for a minute, just killing dudes in high school and stuff like that. It's just, kid's almost 7 feet tall. Yeah, 6'10", whatever. But he's big, but he's strong. Like that was the thing that I noticed when I saw him on the floor the other night. Is like the frame and like the weight that he was carrying. He looks legit, dude. Like a lot of those kids coming from high school to college, especially those big tall kids like that, they're skinny. Yeah. Now he's got some muscle on him, and he's got a big game too. So. I'm definitely going to be looking at some tickets. They're going to be expensive. It's probably going to be the most expensive ticket, that or the UNC game. Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, that was my basketball weekend.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, he's definitely looking good. He's not looking good as LeBron to go. When he came out of high school, but he's definitely good. But when I saw him in the Olympic, playing this Olympic team over summer, that showed me a lot. A lot of players had something to say about him as well. The NBA players had something to say that, hey, he's definitely ready. So he's definitely ready for NBA. He can play right now and be starting on the NBA team.
I had flashbacks. I was thinking like Christian Laettner.
Come on now.
No. But I mean, I'm just saying. Aside from the fact that he's 6'10" white dude, but I just think
playing on Duke
and plays on Duke. But I mean, like just the personality that he has. He's kind of brash. It seems like a lot of the stuff that I would see on on TikTok, on Instagram, like he'll dunk on dudes and let them know about it. He's got some swag to him, but he's got that all around game as well.
His game is definitely more NBA. Christian's game is more for college, and honestly, I think between Christian and Kareem, probably arguably the best college players of all time. I think, but I think he's gonna be definitely a better pro than Christian. So because I feel like he can just do a little bit more, and his first step is a lot quicker than Christian. So he's just more fluid in his skill set. But yeah, he's definitely ready.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt. Yeah, one and done for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm sure he's NIL. I'm sure he's getting taken care of.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
We got a big day tomorrow too. Was it the Champions Classic? Is that what they call it?
So, Champions Classic.
You got Kansas, Michigan State, and then you got the Cats and Duke.
Yeah. So they're whooping on UK.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm for it too. So talk a little trash with that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know we didn't talk about this in the beginning real quick. I wanted to touch on this. My son had brought up, he said, for a topic, and maybe we can get into another time, but it's becoming the NIL. Could we talk about it a little bit last time and what, because our sons are the same age,
Mm-hmm.
and soon they're going to be going to college, but I don't know if anybody out there will have a son going to college here soon. When it comes to NIL, what should they be doing to prepare for college? And, because it's different now.
Yeah.
With the NIL money, I'm sure players are probably, people are getting paid or getting set up ready to get paid in high school.
Yeah.
Agents are reaching out, in high school. So you got any thoughts on that?
I think it's necessary. I mean, these kids, they make so much money for these universities. Without college athletics, you wouldn't have these TV contracts with ESPN and ABC and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're making billions and billions of dollars, and these kids, for the longest time, at least legally, were not compensated very. They got. Don't get me wrong. I've almost said compensated very well. They got an education, right, or the opportunity at an education.
Mm-hmm.
They got room and board. They got a lot of things that a student, like when such as you were actually said you were on scholarship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like children or kids that don't have those opportunities, they don't get those same benefits, right? So it's not the same experience. But again, going back to my first point about that was those kids aren't. I wasn't driving revenue for U of L, so I wasn't driving any revenue. So I'm for them getting paid. The only thing that I don't like about it is something really this year. And U of L had a guy that did it, but there's a couple different kids that came into a school. Like say they agreed on a number with the school. They get to campus, and then all of a sudden their agent, who doesn't have to be licensed or doesn't have to be certified. It's not the same as an MBA or an agent for professional players. But that gets on campus and says, my dude wants more money, or says, XYZ school down the road is going to give them more money.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to leverage that. U of L had a dude that came in and he tried to do all that. And Brom was like, I don't care. This is what we said we would do. Hit the road.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I don't know. It also presents problems, or I think it would present problems in the locker room with other dudes that aren't.
Like jealousy.
I mean, how can it not?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would happen.
I mean, I've been on teams. I mean, obviously when you're on a team, I mean, I think if you're real, and realistic, about who you are as a player and who everybody else is, like where dudes stack up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
You got the man, right? So that person deserving of more than, let's just say, the top dude on a basketball team is the 12th guy. Should he get the same? He or she get the same?
No,
it doesn't work that way, right?
No.
Not even in our society, like anywhere does it work that way. So I understand that part, but again, when you're dealing, I think, with teenagers, early 20s, there's some jealousy that goes on, some resentment that goes on. How is that person that's getting paid?
Yeah. Is
he a good dude, or is he an asshole?
Yeah. I mean,
is he buying lunches for some other dudes? Like, yo, I got you today, or something like that. Yeah. I mean, I think that would go a long way. I don't know.
Yeah, that is something to think about there. Because I don't know how. I mean, if I was getting paid with some of these guys were getting paid in college, how would I be, or would I finish college? So I don't know.
There's another one, another situation that came up. There was a dude, and I don't know the whole background of, but there was a wide receiver I wouldn't even name names for schools. Right? There was a wide receiver at a school. he transferred into this school, gets NIL money. I don't know how much. Plays a game or two, I think. Then he gets hurt. Then he's out for a couple games. Then he comes back probably earlier than he should have, or at least kind of based on the early, expectations, recovery times. Comes back, plays. Really wasn't being impactful. Made what many people think is a business decision, that they were going to sit out for the rest of the year and take a red shirt. This is a fifth-year person already. So this person only hadn't had a red shirt. So he's got 1 year of eligibility left. So takes a red shirt this year. So he's still eligible for another year.
Yeah.
Got paid this year from the school. And then now supposedly is coming back to the school, but others are thinking, like, is he a free agent and going to go somewhere else? So I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. I think we talked about it. Like, my understanding is if you try to make them sign a contract.
Yeah, contract.
Okay, you're going to get this amount of money for this period of time, and if you break it, it gets prorated, or maybe you don't get any of it, or what that looks like.
Because Oriam, I wanted that way coaches and players are not moving so much. Because obviously, if you're a top player or top quarterback, you do good 1 year, then next year you can go to the highest bidder, somewhere else, and just all throughout college, you can probably play in 3 different schools, before you have to go, and getting the highest paid. And and especially in college football, it's definitely good to have a solid team, or not say solid team, but just a solid foundation to root for. Fans are used to rooting for a player, for multiple years.
Yeah.
And that's good for the sport as well. But if coaches can move around like they want to, then players should be able to too. And then so obviously they need to figure that out. And so it won't be so much movement in the transfer portal or whatnot. So that's my opinion about it, because you see it all the time with coaches. They'll leave in a bowl game.
Oh, yeah.
And be coaching somewhere else, and the player has to stay there. So we saw that a lot. What's that?
It says, hope they have a solid agent representative negotiating on their behalf. And that's, I mean, I don't think that Z brought up LeBron, right? And Maverick Carter, his best friend, is that right?
Maverick. But Rich Paul is his agent.
Okay, I'm sorry. So but I knew he had his crew that he was surrounded. They all played ball together and everything else. And but that one of his friends became his agent, was negotiating on their behalf. So it's worked out well for him. How many people have access to something like that?
Yeah.
Gil brings up a great point. I mean, what does that look like? There was a kid I think it was a UNLV quarterback, played 3 games, and that was kind of a similar situation where that agent was like, yo, my dude, wants more money, or
I think he was promised a certain thing, and then he got there, and then they kind of reneged on his offer.
But that was the back and forth. I don't know who's he said, she said kind of thing, like who's telling the truth there, was that using that as leverage? So I don't know, I mean, do parents become that person, and then I've seen it in youth athletics. parents, man, I think sometimes they can get really involved, and it's either the betterment or the detriment of the kid and that relationship. So
yeah, I mean, I think at this point, parents need to be involved, and that's where the research and education comes in as well, to make sure you're either reaching out to some contacts or doing some research to make sure you find the right agent or agency. Because if you have a very good kid, I'm sure, like with Cooper Flag we was talking about earlier, I'm sure he's probably had some representation or somebody's been talking to for probably since his junior year or sophomore year or so, because he just know, in about 6 months, his season's over, he's ready to be a pro. Getting drafted in June, so at 18, 19. So yeah, I mean, parents got to be involved, and hopefully they have a parent to be involved. Then at that point, then you got to, make sure you're reaching out to get the right contacts, and they can have someone solid and to represent them, so they're not getting taken advantage of at an early age.
And I think that's, I think that's kind of the dirty side of it, right? What is the motivation of that individual?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I see it. I've seen it for the past few years being in those gyms. These parents, man. I was even there, I think, for a little bit. I think I strained some relationships that I had with friends. People that I'd known for a long time, because I don't know what it is. Just like I know what it is. I think everybody wants what's best for their child. But it's so competitive, it's like, I got to be better than that other person. Or if my kid, I think, is better than, should be doing this X, Y, or Z and stuff. And it definitely strained some relationships that I had, that I didn't talk to that person for a while, or they didn't talk to me, probably because I was the one being the a-hole in the whole situations. Because, I think I have to have a realistic expectation of, your child and their ability. And I'm at the point now where I just hope that he continues to love the sport that he plays, and just support him that way as best I can, just be his dad and the biggest fan.
That's right.
And kind of let everything else,
Same thing with mine. I'm at the same point.
Let God take care of the rest. And things are going to work out the way they're going to work out.
Yeah. Because I mean, my oldest, he's at a point right now where he can, he's already had a couple schools reach out to him, and he's starting to reach, some of his athletic peak, and starting to come into his body, whatnot, in football and basketball and track. So yeah, I mean, there's a good chance he could probably go D1 somewhere. So yeah, I'm just trying to be a parent to him. I'm trying to encourage him, hey, to keep pushing and be disciplined. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, but I don't want to put no extra pressure on him. Just want him to go out there and have fun while you still can.
Yeah.
Because one thing I did notice when I was in high school, that was the funnest time for me, being around my friends at that time. Compared to when I got to college, I was on scholarship. It was definitely more of a business. It was not as fun as I thought it would be. It was definitely more of a business, because I'm running for them to make money for them. And I would say our group did. We came in, and of course, years after we leave, they finally get enough money to build an actual track and whatnot, and get better uniforms and stuff. So it becomes a business at that point when I got to college, whatnot. But it's good. And that's why I kind of just sit back now and just support them, encourage them, whatnot. So I see these little highlight videos, want them to have fun, because I know when he hit that next step, if he does go to the next step, it's going to be different. And so you have to really grow up. Yeah. Well, any other questions going on right now? I know we had a few other people join before we wrap up here. Any Q&A question before we wrap up here? But definitely want to thank everybody for joining to listen to us today. About our veterans, about being disciplined with your exercise and being disciplined with your diet, taking care of yourself during the holiday season. These next 4 months are crucial to you.
Find a race, find something, to keep you motivated.
Yeah.
Right. I know the weather's cold, but the turkey trot here in Louisville, YMCA has it. I talked about it before. It's coming up on Thanksgiving Day. There's other races and things out there. It doesn't have to be a race. Find something, some type of challenge or something in the gym. If you belong to a gym, see if there are classes or there are, again, competitions, it's consecutive days of working out, or,
That's a good
push-up
point.
challenges or whatever there might be. Just find something to keep you motivated, have some type of goal in mind that you can work toward each and every day. Because it's hard, man. It's hard to do it by yourself. And that's what I was kind of talking about earlier, of like that discipline. What are you doing when nobody's watching? And on, like, I'm not competing for anything. I have a goal. Like I said, I want to feel good. I want to be able to move when I'm older, freely and without pain, and as much, as little pain as possible, or as little complication as possible. But again, on those cold mornings when it's 5 o'clock and I'm in bed and it's warm, like, man, it's easy just to push that alarm out.
Yeah, it keeps hitting the snooze button.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we got the turkey trot coming up that we'll do, which is
anybody that wants to join us. We're going to be doing that. Hit us up, DM us, send us a message or whatever. We'd love to have a group meet up, run together. I mean, I'm not trying to set any records or anything like that, so I have no time in mind. I'd rather just go run with some people and have a good time.
Yeah. This one's more fun for us right here. Yeah, definitely. Turkey trot, but we probably do like a little live. We might do a little mini live show before the race, before it's set up. But that gives us motivation, because anytime we got like a race coming up, that picks up our motivation to definitely get up and be disciplined. Because here soon we'll start. Well, after the turkey trot, we'll be training for the mini and getting ready for that here soon as well. So definitely a race, something to get you going, get you prepared for. Definitely does help. I know it helps me.
100%. And then that whole, Triple Crown of running. Actually, did you see where they added the 10 miler back to it?
I did not see that. Okay.
Yep. So traditionally it was a 5K, 10K, and then a 10 miler.
And that's in March, right? Usually.
Right? I can't remember when it starts, but yeah. Actually, I think maybe the first race might even be in February. Like, I remember running some cold 5Ks.
Okay, that's even better.
And then they're like about 2 weeks out. The last race is typically kind of leads up like right before Derby, 2 weeks before Derby or something like that. That's the mini, or the mini, or the marathon would be like the 1 or 2 weeks before Derby. But that's a good one too, because then it just kind of builds on each other. You start training for the 5K, then once you've done the 5K, you kind of keep that going and get into the 10 and stuff like that. So definitely been a good way for me to kind of keep that fitness going, through the year and into the summer months.
I know we did one.
Spring
did you do 2 or 3 races? You did all of them?
Yeah, I did 3.
You did 3. I know I was only able to do 1 because I had to have surgery, but this year I'm gonna do all 3, and that will probably help too. Because my goal for the mini this time is just try to do hour 45 at least.
Ooh.
So we'll see. So that's why I got started a little earlier. Yeah.
You're talking about training. Like, do we have a question?
Yeah. What advice would you give your younger self and related to, the diet and nutrition? Ooh, if I knew what I knew now, Gil. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely probably be, would meal prep more of my meals and stuck to a more fruit and veggie diet, because at that time back then, when the dollar menu was $1, a dollar could go a long way. You spend $3, you get your 2 cheeseburgers and a fry at McDonald's, and that was a lot, especially, for a poor kid at Lindsay, you didn't have much money. That would be sometimes a late night snack. And that was not good, but at that time I felt like if I can work out twice a day and eat what I want, but that's not the case. You need to be really disciplined. If I had ate a lot better, my times would have been a lot better, and I would have had less injuries as well. Because, the days I'm doing 2 days, maybe I can take a rest on, maybe do 1 workout and let my body rest more instead of having to push it to try to, lose more weight so I can get down my time, and probably relied more on the diet just as much as I relied on exercising. So I would have had more fruit and veggie intake at that time, more protein shakes, definitely drinking more water, a lot of juices and water at that time, but definitely more water, especially during race day. If I knew what I knew now, yeah, I definitely would have even better times, even better times.
Yeah, I just think I would have started earlier. I wasn't a college athlete. I was a high school athlete, and I wasn't a college athlete. So I did some intramurals and stuff like that. But that kind of got away from being just active and healthy in general. So I think the biggest thing for me was just to start earlier and paying attention more to the diet, nutrition, sodas, things like that. Cutting out alcohol sooner, I think would have been a better help as well. But that's the biggest thing. And then just because it would allow me to do more things, right?
Yeah.
To push myself and challenge myself more. I've got a colleague. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but she's in my age group. When you're running, she's trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon.
Okay.
And so she's in my age group, and the way they do is typically in like 5-year increments. And so, I think she's got to run like 3:30 or something like that. But I mean, I just think if I would have done it sooner, I would have been in a better position to maybe challenge myself a little more physically.
Yeah.
To see, hey, what could I have done, when it comes to that kind of stuff, different things. So
yeah, information is key. I try to tell that to my son now, what kind of diet he needs to be on. I told him about the issues I had, even though I stayed pretty healthy, but I did have issues with my hamstrings, and had I had a better diet, like I said, I wouldn't have been as injured. I could have had better times. I could have, competed even more, even better. So diet is definitely key. I thought back then, if I work out just as much, then it'll just cancel out the diet. No, I know now that the diet is actually even more key. My endurance would have been a lot higher. Even though I was a sprinter back then, it definitely helped in the 2 and the 4 a lot better. So yeah, definitely diet.
Well, appreciate everybody that hung with us for this whole time. I actually got a couple people there at the end that joined us. So if you missed us, if you're just joining now, go back. This will be actually posted after we're done here. You can go back and watch it again. BaldBoyz on YouTube at BaldBoyz 502. We'll be posting some stuff on Instagram, as Z said. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all the other social medias: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok coming soon. We've got our own personal Facebook and Instagram pages. So if you have any questions for either of us, or just want to send them to the page, hit us up with anything, any ideas that you'd like for us to kind of discuss. But we do this for you. I do this for you. I love the interaction. So appreciate it. Appreciate all the veterans out there.
Yep. Appreciate all the veterans. This is therapy for us. We definitely appreciate it. Keep giving us ideas. And until next time, we'll see you.
Peace.
Peace.